Previously on Unranked.
This is impossible. This is impossible. This is impossible. If you were to tell me that it's carbonated games, I'm gonna fill it in for you right now. Let's say it's console, Xbox, genre, RPG, year 2005, players 4, Metacritic 80. I have no fucking idea.
I have no fucking idea. I have no fucking clue. I'm not going to have any goddamn idea. You might as well delete developer because Tom doesn't know what it is and I don't know what it is. So it's not developer. A clue. There's nothing valuable about any of this.
Let's find out. Can you make a guess? Sure. Give me the year. Show me the year. Show me 2003. Oh, 2006. Give me any game for 2006
Tom,
for $200.
Tom, you pick the next category.
Genre. Oh, FPS. Card game. Is that even a 2006 card game? I haven't played a card game. Uno, online Uno.
It's Uno.
Is it really Uno?
It's Uno, you dumb motherfucker. I knew you would get this.
I forgot the punchline of that bit. I forgot that he got it.
That's so funny. You dumb motherfucker is such a good punch.
Hello and welcome to the 86th episode of the Unranked podcast. This is Christian Humes here with Thomas Caswell. And
hello.
Subbing in for the angry Italian stallion himself, we have the one and the only Jesse Vitelli.
How's it going? I will do my best to bring the most Italian angry energy I can bring to this show.
We young Elmo fans, rise up,
Rise up. Rest in peace, young Elmo.
Tuna and I kind of do the polar opposite ends of the Italian. I'm the I will make excuses for people all the time. I'm overly welcoming with people. And Alex is immediately, very judgmental. It's very, you get the good cop, bad cop with Tuna and I. So.
I'll play the heel. I'll be the villain this episode. That's fine. I'll do what needs to be done.
Well, what needs to be done is the same thing we do at the start of every episode. So, Tom, with today being the 486th episode of the podcast, I mean, we're talking about the 486th Pokemon in the Pokedex. Regigigas.
Oh Regigigas. No, the Reggies.
Yeah. We had one of the 4 last week. This sort of quattro of these legendaries right now, I think, are some of the worst as far as legendaries that Pokemon has put out, at least in my opinion. Where are you on this, Jesse? Because you seem to have
I don't hate them. I don't love them, to be clear.
Yeah.
I don't love them. But I think about and you'll get there in a long time, but I think of the Landorus, Thundurus, Eternatus. Those are bad legendaries.
They are. Yeah.
Reggies are the first of the bad trio, is how I would describe them. You got Moltres, Articuno, Zapdos, and you have your Suicune, Entei, Raikou. And then you kind of had the Reggies, and they fit in a weird category. They're just bipedal stones, I guess. And then Regigigas is they're for the next generation, we need to make a bigger one that combines all of them, I think. Yeah. I don't really know what its deal is. It just kind of looks weird.
I mean, you picked a perfect Pokemon, I think, to compare it to, with basically they were supposed to be genies. They're supposed to be Jin. This, I think, equally is from a concept. If you look at their lore, it's we're going on golems in this generation, and next generation we're going to do genies, 2 very cool folklore, mythological. But I think just the execution on the design, they're all kind of hideous.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have any soul, and I feel these characters should be all soul, right? They should be all vibes based characters right now.
They commit one of the worst sins, I feel when it comes to Pokemon. Not necessarily the worst case of this, but it's just one of those things where it just feels like they didn't have any idea what to do with or any of them. They were just Rock Man.
Rockman.
Again, because we already have Rockman.
Right, we have many
we have
Rockmen.
We have so many better Rockmen. It's ridiculous. We're not hurting for Rockmen. But yeah, and then they come up with this, which again, yeah, like Jesse said, somehow simultaneously looks actually unlike any of them, really, but somehow also looks like it was meant to be all of them combined. But I'll say this, I think this one is the best of the designs, but it's the best of some really bad designs.
What is its
and
its type is normal?
Type? Oh,
yeah, okay. I'm glad we had that revelation
here,
at the
dude.
same time.
Yeah.
Does it like I like to think I know a lot about Pokemon, and then we do a deep dive.
Yeah.
Like, does it at least like can it change its type? Or is it just normal?
Normal type is, I think, one of the biggest. There's like two sins in typings that Pokemon has, and it's normal and it's not having a flying or like not having an air type, because then flying becomes this really weird. The fact that there's no air-based typing and normal is this also strange hodgepodge. Like they had to add fairy, right? Like Clefable, like Clefairy, they never made sense. They were normal type. Yeah. So it was such a bizarre. I mean, it's probably the two biggest like issues from a lore perspective, but like let's get real, like that's not really the main draw of Pokemon.
Regigigas gives me the big energy of like I threw up, you know, like it's my turn on the Xbox, like especially in 3D, it's just kind of like stanced up, like I threw up.
It's ugly. I don't like the color scheme. Yeah. It's sort of scattershot, like you said, Tom. It's kind of all over the place. Do you have the name origin?
I do. Real quick before we go to the name origin, I'm looking in the trivia. Basically, because it says Regigigas has more in common with Slacking than it does with other legendary Pokemon. So the same type, same base stat total, same base attack, and they have similar abilities. So I know Slacking is meant to be of all of the normal types. So like this is like the best normal type Pokemon in the game, but it is a normal type. So like I'm never gonna even fucking why would I want to do that to myself?
Not gonna go on my team.
Name origin Regigigas. Well, we got so yes, it is based on the golems of Hebrew legend. Specifically, Regigigas seems to have parallels to the legendary golem of Prague, whose immense power has also intimidated people, which ultimately resulted in it being subdued and sealed away. Okay. So there's a bunch of shit there about its origin. Its name origin may be a combination of Regis, Latin for royal, and Gigas, Latin for giant.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
not good.
I hate this thing.
Yeah, and it's shiny is awful too. So
the shiny's worse. It's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, as you were saying that, I was like, what is the nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, we really stumbled at the end here.
Let's put this on the list so we can be done with it. So we have a list that we are doing. So this is just this generation. There's some wild Pokemon placements here, I think. So, don't pay attention to the top 10. Giovanni, when he saw this list, was like ready to just make the whole episode about fixing it. But
yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I hate this list.
Yeah. There's a lot of petty, like one of us was out.
There is some petty.
And so we took advantage and fucking put a Pokemon there when there was no oversight. There's a lot of, but at the end of the season, we will be reordering the list and fixing it. But this is just sort of last week Heatran went to 60. This is definitely lower than 60.
Yeah, it is.
Can I control F this list? Is that possible? I need to know if Leaveney is on this list.
Leaveney?
It's like a weird leaf Pokemon. Excuse me, I sounded like Kermit the Frog there for a second. It sounded like it's like a weird leaf Pokemon. I only ask because I have a vendetta against that thing. These are only Gen 4 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right. Is that how this works? Okay, no, then we're good. We're golden. Don't worry about it. Okay, I just have a vendetta against that Pokemon, and I had to rank it higher than that thing, wherever that thing was on the list. I hate that thing. Okay.
I mean, there's plenty of Pokemon on here to have a vendetta with when like this generation has Mime Junior, it has
Yeah, Mime Junior.
Probopass.
I hate Mime Junior. I like Probopass. If you're gonna
Probopass
go
to
I
me,
love
dumb,
I
Probopass
like
is
that.
dumb.
exactly. That like I we gave it enough points on
We put
just
him high enough.
this
Yeah,
shouldn't exist, and I
he's
could kind
there.
of love that it does.
This
Yeah,
thing's better than Finian.
It is better than just the fish.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
not better than the hippo though.
I think Hippopotas beats it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bronzor beats it because Bronzor at least has like a design. I look at it and I get that this is maybe this is very true to whatever it's based off of. So I think it's a bit tougher to
Yeah.
maybe design something like that and make it look cool or what have you. So I don't know, but yeah, I
I'm
think
good with I
a
like
big
that
hippo.
spot. The new
Yeah.
86 knock Finian down one.
Yeah. Get that
I
fish
like
out of
that.
here.
All right.
Let's
I'm
see.
gonna update the list. We've got it in at the new
Golem of
86.
Prague. Let's Google this. Golem. Does he look like the golem? Let's find out. Oh. No, I'm looking at it right now. The Prague golem
Yeah.
is it the statue itself looks way cooler and they could have done something way cooler with this thing. Shame.
Terrible.
Okay. Terrible.
All right, well, that's it for the Pokemon. Now we can just get into any other fucking bullshit or nonsense we got going on. Jesse, um, before we started recording, I had to pause him because he was like, "Well, how are you?" And I was like, "You know what? This is probably podcast discussion." I am exhausted, Jesse.
What
Uh,
happened?
my wife is 12 days from having a baby
Oh
right
my
now.
God.
So
Congratulations.
thank you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot I got to do. For instance, one of the things weirdly, Tom, part of my list was finally mounting all my lightsabers, which I'm in the process of doing because my office is going to become our office because her office is going to become the nursery.
Yeah.
So I've had like over the last few weeks, like had to like change a ton of stuff and some furniture in our bedroom, like get a ton of her stuff out of there. Like we're gonna keep her desk in there for now anyway. But otherwise, like had to clear out all of that room, put everything in storage. So now I've been clearing out like a bunch of room in my office. I'm just tired.
Sounds exhausting.
There's a lot to do. And we also don't get to choose when, like, well, we could induce, we're not. But, if you're not inducing, you don't get to choose when the baby's coming. So it's like, it could just come too soon. It could be tonight. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
This is part of the one of the many scary things about doing this.
It's wild. It's wild.
And
then I'll be taking a break.
It is mounting lightsabers.
It is. And you know what, Tom? It's
step.
looking all right. I ended up getting just like metal pegboard. I got to get two more. One that's going to go over here and then one on the other side because they just wouldn't fit all on one.
Yeah.
But the extra space is going to let me get some of like people on Etsy make like really nice like plaques that you can just like put, and it has like this person, it could be like Anakin, the Skywalker saber, and put it next to that one and stuff.
Sure.
Dress it up a little bit. Make it look a little bit nicer.
You don't want the baby to get the lightsaber because they might choose wrong when they're so young.
Yeah.
So they need to be mounted so the baby knows not my time yet to pick up the lightsaber.
It's strange that you say that because Mark Hamill just did an interview on a Max Fun podcast and he talked about the story he had come up with for what like was actually happening to Luke in The Last Jedi, like before he was given that information. Because, when they filmed The Force Awakens, it actually ended with him being super powerful. And then Rian Johnson was like, we got to change that. So he didn't know yet. All he knew was like, actually, we're redoing this shot. Like it's going to be different now. And he doesn't know why. So the story he came up with for himself was he fell in love with a woman. And it was like that, like love was the reason he gave up like being a Jedi. And he was like, this needs to be really dark though. So like we have a child and the kid accidentally kills himself with the lightsaber.
Whoa.
And then the wife also dies. I can't remember if she like couldn't stand the grief or but so then he's like I can't. And so he goes like this is the story he crafted for himself so he could start to get in the headspace thinking about that movie.
You could pull from that well.
It's a wild. There's a wild story.
I love the. I'm just thinking about like how critical the actual motivation for Luke in the sequel trilogy is to the like entire core of what that trilogy is about for all of its better and worse aspects. Like the fact that he was training Kylo and like all of that is so integral to the story. And I'm just trying to picture what the story of the sequels would have been if that had been like the inciting incident for Luke disappearing.
How would this have affected LeBron's legacy?
He's like he views the Jedi like the NRA, and he's like, these are dangerous weapons. He goes on like this whole like
lightsaber control.
Yeah, he's like, we need some lightsaber control laws.
We need regulations.
Yeah,
it's just trade embargoes again, but it's just lightsaber regulation. We just redoing the first film.
He's the reason that Leia like isn't a part of the Republic and she has this like underground resistance because he is like, you can't give her military power.
I love that. Oh God, that's good. Jesse also serendipitously, I mean, not serendipitously, I did impartial hit up Jesse because Jesse's got some cool news, but it was also like a very last minute, hey Jesse, come be on the podcast because I forgot that Tuna wasn't going to be here and I want to get more people doing this.
No, this was super planned. This was super planned.
I mean, it feels like it. You slid right in like a sea.
Planning 5 minutes before still planning. So
you know what? We got the job done. So what's going on in your life, man? It's some big stuff, some big moves.
What if I was just like nothing and I just made you look like you were just lying?
Yeah, didn't know what I was talking about.
No, I got one of those jobs that people are always, we're always trying to get.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I started as the associate editor at Restart.Run, which is a video game website where you can go to learn about video games. I was contracted with them. I was doing social media. I was doing their TikTok, YouTube channel stuff. I was occasionally writing for them. But then they were like, hey, what if you just came and worked for us? And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So I signed my offer and did all my stuff yesterday. Today was my first day as a full-time employee again, a member of the workforce.
Wow.
Again.
Congrats.
So happy for you, man.
Thank you. So we got a lot of planned. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Excited for it. Can't talk about it yet, but we got some cool stuff going.
As much as you can you, because like I obviously know that there's this whole thing with the Walmart funding and all of that, but I'm really curious as to like how big is Restart? Like who works there? Like I don't know. Do we
sorry,
people involved in the no, go ahead.
The editorial team is pretty small. It's I mean now me. Brandy Berthelsen is our EIC. Henry Stenhouse is a staff writer. And then we have Chris Higgins who does some back end work and occasionally writes.
Oh, okay.
But that's really it.
That's here. Okay.
It's really just the four. And then we have Lucas White currently as a contract writer.
Oh yeah.
And then they take freelance pitches. So we have a bunch of freelancers, a bunch of really great writers that come through and get to write cool stuff on the site. And then we have a video editor. We have Ian as our video editor, freelance video editor for a bunch of our TikToks and other things. Because like I'm what they call the idea man. They pay me for the ideas, but I can't video edit for shit. So I don't do the editing, but I do capture the footage most of the time and send the shot list. And then write the scripts occasionally. Henry also does a lot of the video stuff too. We're a small team and we kind of all do everything. So
yeah, it definitely seems to be like built for the current kind of climate, I guess. Of everything.
I mean, you got to be scrappy.
Yeah, and we are.
Yeah,
and it's cool. It's fun to kind of wake up every day and be like, hey, what are we going to do today? What do we have the bandwidth for? All right, let's do this, and this, and then we're done. and it
Yeah,
works out,
that's
and we
sick.
can adapt based on, oh, we have a showcase this week. Oh, we have review today, tomorrow, whatever. Like we just roll with the punches every week. It's a good time. They're good
Hell
people.
yeah.
Site's building, it's obviously small. The goal is to make it bigger than it is, um, but not at the cost of, people or, you know,
Sure.
the chase of exponential growth, which a lot of these sites are always after.
Right.
So we're trying to do it right, trying to do it
It's
small,
just
trying to keep it lean.
unsustainable, the old
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could it scale?
Especially with
Unless,
ad
Maybe.
dollars. Like
Yeah.
ad dollars don't exist the way they used to either. That's like probably one of
Yeah.
the biggest drivers of this is,
Yeah.
all that money is just starting to go to social media. Like it's starting to go there.
Restart, ad-free website. You can go on there right now. You won't see a single ad. You'll
Wow.
see some sponsored stuff, but you will never see a single ad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a clean website. I think
That's
if
great.
I'm a little biased, maybe I think it's one of the better looking websites out there. That's just my
All right.
personal
Well,
opinion.
now I have to look right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. We're pulling it up right now. We're gonna put your money where your mouth is.
Look, I wouldn't lie.
Does it look better
Oh,
than Regigigas?
you know what's funny is I've already been on this website because it started autofill very recently. All switched to games that work with mouse controls because I was like, all right, let me check this out right
Yo,
away.
this is yo. This is actually fucking pretty clean. You're right. This is pretty nice with these cards at the bottom. This reminds me of like old school
I miss the old internet.
inverse. This
Yeah.
feels like
You're right, Tom. It does.
like 2017 inverse. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
I miss websites. I miss
It's got a website with character.
yeah. I stopped using most social media. I deleted Twitter the day Elon bought that company. And then once I deleted that, it was very easy to just start checking out on posting on things. And then
Yeah.
earlier this year, for no reason in particular, on January 20th, I deleted all of the apps from my phone. So like if I need to look at something, I have to go to my iPad, which I pretty infrequently use. Or every now and then it was like, oh, I made a post to let people know I'm having a baby. Like it was like, the second post I've made in a year, sort of a thing. But otherwise, it's like I kind of wish I could just completely delete the things, but then I'm also just locking myself out of, social circles for that.
Yeah.
So you sort of unfortunately can't completely uncouple yourselves. And like, depending on what you do, you might not have the luxury of not using certain social media sites that we'd probably prefer not to use because, but it's I miss this, right? I miss
Yeah.
like being able to read an article, like whereas everything else now it's like just go to the comments, like everything's just entertainment instead of like the substance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Websites are sweet.
Yeah, and they're all built for mobile now. So it's like, and you click on a website and it's like the text is just centered on the page, and it's like, can we like get it a little bit wider? Can I feel like I'm reading something that wasn't built for a 4-inch phone screen? But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Old internet websites are where it's at, and more websites should go back to that.
Uh, Absolutely agree. 100%. Let's just all build a new GeoCities together.
Yeah, maybe not like content wise, they shouldn't revert back to like the
Yeah,
early
bro.
2000s because like there's some pretty problematic stuff on
Yeah,
some of those websites.
there's a lot.
But like if we could have the content of today on a website
Yeah.
that looks like it was made in like 1998, like we're cooking. Like we got something there.
Yeah. Rotten.com without any of the rotten comments.
Yeah.
Or
Really what I'm
content,
saying is just go
right?
play Hypnospace Outlaws. Like I think really what I'm just saying.
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Speaking of that Switch mouse, have either of you guys really spent time with it? Other
Not even a
than
little bit.
no?
A smidge. I picked up.
You got to get one of these.
Oh, the
Ooh.
three. Oh,
Is that
the
3D
pop-
printed
thing.
piece?
Yeah, you pop it in. I'm sure there'll be better ones soon that will use the actual magnet to hold on to it. This is just like, you've kind of forced it. Like it just fits. It's snug. But man, does it make it so much easier, like to rest your hand on it. Fortnite on this thing is pretty great. I have never been this good at Fortnite.
I was about to ask what you've been using it for, because I think the thing with me is I'm not finding a lot of reasons to use it. Oh, I messed around with it on the home screen. I was like, this is kind of novel, but none of the games I'm playing really use mouse support. So I've been trying to find a game to use it so I could like really put it through its paces. I guess Fortnite's the answer.
I
for
think
now.
I think that it will be a thing that is like it will have very novel implementations in Switch games, and I think things like Metroid Prime 4 will be probably defined by how it plays with the mouse. I think it's going to be that game is going to come out, and they are going to be like, yes, this is the game. If you want to like fucking rip and tear with this fucking mouse,
I
Metroid
played
Prime 4,
I played Metroid when they were demoing the
right?
I went to the Switch 2 reveal event and they had us play 15 minutes of Metroid Prime 4 and that was the way they were selling that game.
Yeah.
It was Joy-Con in left hand, mouse on the right. But the cool thing is you could pick that mouse up and turn it around and use it as a control stick and there's no button you have to hit. It just like naturally detects
Yeah.
like is it in mouse mode or is it in Joy-Con mode? So they were like, yeah, use it as a mouse and then pick it up and use it to control the camera and then put it back down as a mouse. And I'm just like, do the whole time. And it was cool. I'm excited for
Did
that
you
game.
ever do the Wii version when they had the IR
The
aiming?
yes, yeah. I
So
never played
like
the full game that way. I played it at a friend's house for a little bit like that, and I thought it was cool.
that was great. And this I think will be better than that. In fact, the thing, Tom, that I really want, but they didn't give it to us. They announced that Splatoon update. I
Mhm.
want them to just go add mouse support because Splatoon is a really great game, except unless like the second you stop playing Splatoon, you can't keep up. Like the people that play that game still are so absurdly good at it, and I can't do the like I've tried.
Gyro.
The
Yeah.
gyro assist aiming is just maybe if all I did was that and played Splatoon all the time, it would click. But every time I've tried to do that, it wasn't the same as having the mouse, the IR mouse on Prime, like the infrared camera, because that is, two separated hands. So it's easier to kind of trick my brain into treating it like just a mouse you hold in the air. Whereas with Splatoon, using it like the gyro, it's just yeah, it's weird. It's weird that you're holding like the Wii U tablet with that one.
Yeah. Well, it's like a those camera rigs you like attach to your body to like
Yes.
hold. If you like all the Splatoon players have one of those and they're just like spinning their console and they're like
Yes.
they're like, oh, here we go. Just spinning it around.
I could stand a chance with a mouse though. I really look forward to it. It's I think going to be one of the like killer features, especially if you're like an indie game. One of the biggest hurdles for them porting to console sometimes is like, well, now we have to change everything like interface wise. Some of this doesn't work. They have to spend time doing that. Like, whereas the game you normally just play with the mouse on Switch, like they just have to do the technical part of it, which is still, I'm sure, quite a bit of work, but it's definitely an easier, like direct you play this with the mouse on this game, on the Switch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's really interesting. My journey with the Switch 2 has simply just been like a it's just kind of picked up the baton from where the Switch left off. Like we're playing Mario Kart and we're having fun with it, but I'm not thinking about like, oh, I need to get all my Switch 2 time in now because I just know that I'm gonna have like 8 years with this thing and I'm gonna have so many wonderful memories along the way. And I'm just kind of like, like Death Stranding has come out and I'm devoting so much time to that. I'm like, I don't feel like, oh my God, I gotta play this thing that I have.
yeah.
It just kind of exists and it kind of blends into and like swaps right in for the Switch One.
Yeah. I'm using it to play a 10-year-old game. I'm playing Digimon Story Cybersleuth on
Oh
that thing.
yes, everyone has started playing that, and I picked it up because it was on sale. Because people, I was hearing like, and I think Jesse,
Is
when
this
it was,
good? Should I get this?
It's good.
I
It's
love
$5 on the
Digimon.
Switch.
it's
It's
$5 on
$5
the e-store.
man
I
for the
already
complete
bought.
edition with the sequel.
I'm already committed to some old games for my Switch too now that Gex trilogy is out. But
Oh my God,
No,
Gex trilogy.
don't drink the tap water at Jared Garcia's house. Get out of here.
oh no, I'm one of those born and bred Gex freaks. I had the Gex Enter the Gecko poster for the N64 on my
Mhm.
wall in my basement. I loved the Gex games, but again, while I was a kid. But there was a period in I definitely beat Gex, Enter the Gecko, and Gex. Was it like Deep Cover? What was the third one?
Oh,
Whatever.
I don't remember what the name of it is.
I beat the two of them multiple times. So there's part of me that wants to see those games again because even though I know it's
I
gonna be
get that.
bad, I know it's gonna be really bad.
I played through that Croc remaster that came out like a couple months ago. Like I understand some things that
Sure.
are bad you just want to revisit for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, that's 100% why I want to play that game.
Well,
Oh, but Digimon, I could get into
what
some
got me with
Digimon.
this Digimon one was I ran into Jesse well numerous times in SGF, but we would pass and talk about like what we'd seen and all this, and you would come out of whatever the next game is,
Digimon Time Stranger.
and
Which look
you were
cool.
like,
It's really cool.
this is really cool, da da da, and then you revealed, oh, it's like a Pokemon game. Like
It is.
it is a Pokemon game with Digimon, but it has all these better systems. And it was I forget, was it Ken that wrote it that was like this this is someone, maybe it was, I just read a post on Blue Sky, but it basically stated like if you've always wanted a Pokemon that essentially is decoupled from
Hmm.
a merchandise cycle of we have to get a new game out, like they just make the games without connecting to this bigger multimedia franchise essentially. And yeah, so everyone's been playing Cybersleuth. And
It's good.
so I was like, it's $5. I had $5 worth of gold coins or whatever. So I paid
Nice.
40 cents.
It's it
I think I paid just the tax.
it really is like, okay, what if Pokemon and Persona kind of like smash themselves together? And you don't get all the systems of Persona. You're not doing social links or any of that. But like
Oh,
this
thank
idea that
God.
you're like inhabiting sort of like this space that you're constantly coming back to, you're walking around malls, you're walking around Japan. You're going to Shibuya and stuff, and you're like talking to people and solving different crimes, and then like hopping back into the digital world to do like Digimon stuff, and then the Digimon are kind of slowly seeping into the real world, and so you're going to these like pocket dimensions in the real world to go solve these crimes. You're a cyber sleuth. You're working with this detective agency. You're doing all of this stuff, and you know it's corny a lot of the times. It's quirky, but like I don't know. There's something
What
really
is
cool about having a bunch of gears as like a Digimon, and then suddenly you have a tank, and you're like, this is my tank Pokemon Digimon now. Like I throw out the tank and it shoots a howitzer. Like I don't know, like it just does what
Hell
it
yeah.
does, and it's called Tankmon, and you're like sick. All right, this
That is
rules.
sick.
So it's like Persona Light in terms of
I would say
systems.
in terms of like sort of presentation in terms of like gameplay structure. Like in Pokemon, it's like, you're getting the 8 badges and you're like doing all this. This is like very much about like you're on like a narrative, breadcrumb trail, and you are doing things of walking around and talking. Like some missions will be like, go talk to these people in Shinjuku, and you'll go around. Then it's like, go to this coffee shop, and then it's like, go over here. It's got like the vibes of a Persona game, but
Hmm.
it doesn't have the
But it
like
isn't like get a
100
job.
hours. It's not get a job.
Okay.
You're not planning out your days. There's no calendar system. It is just
Okay.
simply like
Okay,
a
cool.
a
Because I
vibes
just
thing.
get because I because with the Persona games, that's been my biggest hurdle. Is I'm just like, oh my God, you're still introducing new. I'm 20 hours into this game, and you're introducing like a whole new system that completely, and I can't get past that. And so like to hear like Digimon, which I have a huge nostalgia
Hmm.
for that is the Pokemon game I'm looking for, but also it has tastes of this franchise that I really struggle to get into, and it kind of addresses a lot of the sticking points.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking
I
sick.
think the important thing to just always keep in mind is this game came out on the Vita like 10 years ago.
Oh
So it's
shit.
it's
Wait,
not
yeah.
perfect. It doesn't have English VO. Like it doesn't have like it is a Japanese VO.
Oh,
It is a lot of
okay.
reading. Like this was a game that, to my understanding, was never really intended to come out to the West. And then there was a
Sure.
lot of like fan outcry for it. And then so they kind of like, did a localization, brought it over. And that localization is like pretty good for the most part. But there was not a lot of money put into this thing. Where Time
Sure.
Stranger feels, the new one that's coming out in October, feels like there's a lot of, you know, I don't want to say effort and downplay the game from 10 years ago, but it feels like there's a lot of modern effort and a lot of money maybe put into this game. And it's being marketed as such. So
The
I've been playing
trailer looked
Cybersleuth
good.
as as just a like, oh, I've never really messed with the Digimon story series before. Let me play a lot of it before the new one comes out, so I'm a little familiar with it. But it's cool. Digimon's cool. They have branching paths. You can digivolve into different things. They don't have a set
Right.
evolution line. So you get to pick and choose what you want to do. I got one that's just got an exposed brain. I didn't even know that guy existed.
That's crazy.
It's called like Vadamon or something. Kind of looks like the alien from American Dad.
Ah, my God.
Oh, okay.
That's descriptive. Now I can picture it 100%.
Yeah, with a
Yeah.
brain, an exposed brain.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There's there's part of me that like, look, you want to make an alternate Pokemon game, great. Like maybe some of them are going to work out, but Digimon was around before Pokemon. So to me,
Yeah.
Digimon is like, if anyone deserves to also be huge, it's Digimon
True.
because
Yes.
they were, they're also similar to the OG. I had the actual like those first generation ones when I was a kid, the actual Digimon device. They were just like the
Oh yeah,
Tamagotchis, but you could
Digivice.
fight
Yeah.
them. You would get them to fight each other,
Yeah.
which was sick.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yeah. They were meant to be like Tamagotchi for boys. Like that
That's
was the
exactly what it
whole
was.
pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still had a
Crazy.
Tamagotchi too. I don't
Yeah.
care what my gender
100%.
was. I had both. You
I
want to
didn't.
market to me? I'm getting
I
both.
was completely oblivious to that marketing as a kid. I definitely thought that because, like, and maybe also, I don't know, maybe an American thing, I don't know, but I remember we all had Tamagotchi, and then
Yeah.
a select few of us had Digimon, and then it was cool that we liked Digimon, especially when, like, the Pokemon like hype came out, and I was like, I like Pokemon, but I really like Digimon, and there were a couple of kids who were like the Digimon kids.
Yeah. Pokemon wishes it could have a Mega Kabuterimon. All it's got is a
Ah,
Regigigas.
dude, Kabuterimon, pretty fucking sick, Dig.
Now I'm gonna say this though.
Hmm.
I'm gonna skip this game, although it does sound good, because I have one problem with JRPGs, and I'm looking at just playing the main story of this game is 50 hours.
Yeah.
And just
Oh,
If you've got
that's
one
long.
time for one of those in your life, or like one of those in your year, save it for the new one. You don't need to play the old.
that's what I'm thinking about. Because I will
Yeah.
have a lot of time of just sitting next to a baby watching it sleep and doing
Mhm.
nothing. But I think I'm gonna save it because I also haven't played Clair Obscur yet.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I was thinking about starting that today, and then I didn't have time. So I'm hoping maybe this weekend I will be able to start it. But yeah, like I can just play that. Probably I could probably play it through my Steam Deck by streaming it. It will
Yeah.
probably play fine, right? Unless like,
I have
so
a
I
friend
know
who does that.
there's
I hate it.
parrying, right? Like it's not going to be, the timing's not that exact, right?
It's kind of tight, but as long as your
They
latency isn't like too bad, you should be
If
okay.
I'm doing it
what
locally, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
also I played on it through cloud streaming through like GeForce Now, which granted
Well,
it's
GeForce
better.
Now is
Yeah, it's slightly
good.
better, but it's the other thing about the game is it has a basically you have a dodge and a parry, and the dodge has a bigger window, but you essentially get better rewards for parrying. So
Sure.
Yeah.
if you are struggling to parry a certain creature, just do like the
Just do the
advice is
dodge.
do the dodge until you
Okay.
can read it, and then you can do the parry. I think you should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Great. Because that might be the JRPG I'm playing. Because I feel like if I start that now too, I hear that
It's
game's
also much
about like
shorter.
25 hours or
Yeah,
so.
it's much shorter.
Yeah.
I'll probably
If you
finish that right before Donkey Kong comes out.
DK Bonanza, dude.
My Switch 2 launch title. That's the one I've been waiting for.
Yeah. 100%. Absolutely the same. Although I have been replaying the Donkey Kong Country Returns just because they put that out. I hadn't picked it up, and again, I wanted to play stuff on my Switch too. That's also why I got that Tron game, which it turns out I'm starting to get
Ooh.
pretty bored of, and I'm gonna drop, I
Mm.
think. Yeah, I think it's long. I thought
Oh,
this was gonna be like a tight, short experience. Like the isometric, I probably don't want to play an isometric game more than like 12 hours.
that's
And
fair.
I think that this is a lot longer than that because I've put um I don't know, maybe 4 in at this point, and I feel like this thing has just started. Like,
So it's either going to end very abruptly or it's got
yeah, or
10
it
more
doesn't really
hours
get
to go.
going. So like I'm starting
Yeah.
to get a little bored because I'm like, it feels like I should be doing more and more entertained this far into this game. And so I'm worried that this is maybe a little boring. I actually didn't look up anything about the game. I just was on the Switch store like I need to play something else, and I was like, Tron, sure, it's on sale, why not? So whatever. Are you guys are playing Death Stranding?
I finished Death Stranding.
Okay, I
I
kind of want
reviewed
to hear
it.
about this because I do want to play this game.
Tom, do you want to start or do you want me to go?
Uh, I'll talk briefly because I only just started it. And my feelings are that and to clarify, huge Death Stranding one fan. That
Ooh.
being said, this is so far in the first like 10 hours, there is so much that is just familiar and it's just a very polished version of the first experience. But I do feel like I am just playing more of it. Aside from now, granted though, why I love Death Stranding is its world and its story. And I mean, I love the mechanics and the gameplay. I actually think they're very innovative and I enjoyed them. A little bit 50-50 on the focus on combat. I think there's some really cool implementations. I do think like the simple mechanic of being able to drop your backpack now when you're about to go take down an enemy outpost, and they make all of that much more important, which I am happy about because it was really just there in the first game, it felt like, and it was obviously very advisable to avoid it. And now they've made it way more like you can kind of do some Metal Gear Solid shit in this one that isn't in the previous one or like wasn't as much of a focus. But I do really still prefer the actual mechanics of the walking and stuff like that. But aside from these early story moments that we're getting drip fed, it's just very familiar. But I am excited for where it's going because of those story moments. And that was the same with the first game. Like I enjoy the gameplay and I'm like, this is novel, but I don't know that his writing on these ones specifically, not even just him as a writer, because I feel kind of whatever about MGS if I'm being honest, but I really click with the storytelling, and so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. I think I'm one of the coldest people on this game as far as like
Ooh.
reviews went. I think I was the
Probably didn't help
lowest,
my
if
fantasy
not
critic
second
then.
lowest. I mean, you still got like a 90,
Yeah.
whatever. I give the game a 3 out of 5.
I mean, that's not
I
bad.
It's not bad, but when you convert it to like Metacritic, it becomes a
Right.
60 and then people get
Yeah.
upset about it. And it's like, okay, whatever. Um, I have a lot of problems with that game. I think my favorite parts of that game are the opening like 10 to 15 hours.
Mm.
I think the game pulls a lot of the same tricks and beats and even mechanics and moments from the first game, like a lot.
Yeah, it is. It
Uh,
is that there's so much one to one.
yeah,
Like light spoiler, we have flashbacks every time he plugs into the pod that he's attached to, and it flashbacks to, and it's this Neil storyline that we've been teased in all these
yeah,
trailers, and I'm like, oh, they're just implementing it in the exact same way that they implemented the Mads Mikkelsen stuff in the first game, and I'm just like, we are just doing the same stuff. But yeah, I'm curious as to what that stuff is. But yeah,
yeah. And obviously, I won't spoil anything, but I
yeah.
think for me, the like two biggest sticking points were like I think they removed a lot of friction from the gameplay, which bothers me. They give you a car pretty early in that game, and the car just negates everything. Like
Mm.
there are challenges the game's throwing at you, and it's like, but if it's in the car, actually, none of this matters. They like some missions will straight up tell you like this is a temperature controlled item, but if it's in the car, it's fine. And it's like, oh, so like what are we even doing here? Like, well, come
Yeah,
on. Or it's like this item has to be held horizontally, but if it's in the car, it's fine. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, okay. I mean, I guess I could not use the car, but like, why wouldn't I? Because I have it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So that bothers me. And I think the narrative just like ultimately keeps doing the wink, wink, nod, nod. I made Metal Gear Solid stuff, like that Kojima loves to do, where
He's
it's the
really
like
self-indulgent.
person looks at the camera and like thumbs up or like looks in the camera and says something, and you're like, Okay, I get it. Like, cool. And sometimes to the detriment, I think, of the story itself, to the point where it's like, we're having a moment here. Why are you doing a bit right now?
It's a
That
little
stuff like
bit like
frustrates me.
when Taika Waititi is just like no one's reining him in.
Yes, no one. And then weirdly enough, I think in the first game, I've said this a lot, but in the first game I really felt like he needed an editor. He needed someone to step in and say, "This is too much. We need to rein it in a little bit." Not even on the bits, just everything. Like that game is so overwhelming with the amount of story it wants to tell you in the first game, to the point where like people feel like they're calling you every 20 minutes. It's like I'm trying to play the game. Like stop,
Yeah.
Heartman, stop calling me to tell me something. And in this game, I think they've pulled it back too much, to the point where there are like hours of that game where I'm not getting like a single piece of information. And it's nice because it's like, oh, okay, like I've been given the room to play the video game and experience the long stretches. But then sometimes it's like, did the game forget about me? Like, are we gonna push the narrative forward at some point? Is something gonna happen at all? A little bit?
Interesting.
So it's this weird push and pull. I just think like by the time the story got to a point where I found it enough, or I found that they were pulling on the right threads, the threads I wanted to know about, the game was over. And it was like, okay, it feels kind of like the middle of maybe a trilogy. I'm not here to say whether or not it will be. It kind of feels like the middle game of something.
Okay.
But I don't know, who knows?
Interesting.
You know?
I really felt like he was going to try and wrap it up with this one, but
I do not think he's trying to wrap it up, and that's not like a nod or anything. That's just it feels like this was such a straightforward sequel because maybe there's something else that they want to do. I don't know. There's something about it that just feels like the middle
Interesting.
of a 3-part game.
Okay.
That being said, the gameplay is cool. I just wish the combat, you can stealth, and I think that's really cool, and you can go guns blazing, and I wish that was really cool. But at the end of the day, you're doing the same thing. Like you're getting the objective and you're getting out. There's no consequence for one or the other, or like there's no reason to do one or the other. So it's like I could go in for 10 minutes and get it done, or I could spend an hour trying to get it done. It's like, give me a reason to do one or the other.
What if because I was just gonna be like, man, if he's really thinking about doing a third, but he has this fucking Fizzant project, what if Fizzant is
and the Xbox, what is that, DO? What's that Xbox one? OD. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is meant to be a smaller experimental. I think the rumors were it was like episodic. I don't know what that state that game is or what it even is at this point, but I don't think that's meant to be like a huge.
I don't know if it's even experience.
Real. I mean, all we have about that game is he came out on stage with Jordan Peele, right? Like that's like all we have about this game, and like a weird little teaser.
Yeah. And how often does like a filmmaker come out about a video game? It's like, we're gonna do a thing, and like doesn't happen, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you're 100%. Steven Spielberg, you're making the hit Wii game Boom Blocks, which was one of the best Wii games, ironically.
And then,
but not what you would typically get Spielberg for.
And then they eventually made that fucking Halo project, which was somewhat kind of related contractually to Amblin.
I'm so forgiving with IPs that I enjoy. I will eat up so much slop, and I'm so forgiving, and I can't.
With lightsabers mounted behind him.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't. It was that second season was insulting. It was insulting. It was
I never
so
watched
bad.
any of it. I stayed far away from it.
It was. Did you play the Halo games? Were you a Halo guy?
I did.
Okay.
I love.
Do you care about spoilers of that show?
Not even a little bit.
They finally introduced the Arbiter in the second season after they do the Fall of Reach, which none of the characters from Reach were there.
Okay.
And it's Master Chief is on Reach, and he doesn't have his suit the whole time, and it's one episode. So that was already a huge letdown. After, by the way, they marketed it this season as like, we know what the fans want. We're here to give you Reach. So in the finale, Chief and the Arbiter meet and on the Halo. They land on the Halo in the season 2 finale. So 2 seasons finally on the Halo for 5 minutes. Chief and Arbiter fight. Chief kills the Arbiter, and it ends.
Chief kills the Arbiter.
Chief kills the Arbiter.
The show's done, right? They canceled it.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, good. After that, they got nothing left. They got nothing left.
even in that moment, I'm like, you know what? The Arbiter's here. I was like, maybe there's a scenario in which they get like 30 minutes of this project right.
David?
I can't remember. It should have been, but I can't remember.
Do you think they found out that they were going to get canceled and they said, fuck it, let's kill the Arbiter in the last scene?
I think so.
None of this matters.
I think so. Or, and this was the guy that was like, I'm not playing the games. Like, this was the guy that like making the show. He's like, I don't play the games. Like, it's not going to be like the games. And it's like,
that's fine.
All right.
But
well,
make it good.
People aren't going to like it. Like, probably people aren't going to like it because you got everything wrong.
Like, you can do interesting things. Like I think of Last of Us season 1, and you do the Bill and Frank stuff, and it's like that's an expanded thing of the lore, but it's pulling upon an interesting thread from that world. You could do that with Halo. Halo has so much lore. There's so many books that nobody's ever read that you could adapt to the screen, and people would be like, "Oh my god, this new Halo story is wild." And it's like, no, you just don't know how to read, man. But like, you instead choose to make the worst possible decision you could make, which is killing one of the only other interesting characters in that world.
Probably more interesting than Master Chief.
Oh, well,
because he has a past.
Is the least interesting thing about Halo.
Yeah,
it is just a green suit of armor for the player to insert themselves into.
Oh, what a mess! What an absolute mess! But that Halo Infinite, that game plays fucking well. I'll put it on my Switch. Put it on my Switch.
Ooh, interesting. Hadn't considered
with mouse
that.
controls.
Halo
everyone would be on
controls?
fucking Switch immediately because you would just be dominating. You'd be dominating the Xbox console players.
We're gonna get Master Chief Collection.
But I want Infinite because Infinite's multiplayer is so good.
It is. It's so fun.
I mean, Master Chief Collection multiplayer is also good. They finally fixed their custom game stuff. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I every now and then get the urge. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, ooh, could go for a little Halo 3 right now.
I got to take everybody on a tour of all the custom games that I've played in my 20 years of playing Halo and just get like a big playlist of them all together. And one night we'll just have like 20 people playing all the different weird variations of games I used to play with my friends or maps that I used to make and stuff like that.
I was about to ask, are you a map man? Because I have a map that I made on the first Forge on Halo 3, Man Cannon, and then I remade it on 4. I remade it on Reach. I remade it on 5. It's like we have a Man Cannon on every. It's our. I was inspired by one of the greatest multiplayer maps, Facing Worlds, and did sort of a. But no bridge. You have to launch.
Ooh,
it's in the air, so you have to launch with Man Cannons from one sort of.
Now we're talking.
Thing to the other. It's sort of just like 3 bridges that are connected, and you're just launching between them and fighting each other.
That's all you need.
It's great.
That's a good Halo map.
Yeah. Halo maps when they're simple are the best, and Halo maps when they are from just like sections of the campaign are usually crap.
Yeah.
That's usually how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anyone have anything else you want to dig into, Tom, or should we start to move on to the last couple things?
The only thing else I've really been playing, other than just like a little sprinkle of Mario Kart here and there, Brooke and I have been playing Puyo Puyo Tetris 2.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Let's go.
I love that game.
Yeah, we it was a Switch. They have a Switch 2 edition.
Yeah.
And so we've been playing Puyo Puyo and really enjoying that.
Is there anything different on the Switch 2 edition?
I have no idea.
4K Puyo Puyo.
It runs at 400 frames per second.
Shit, maybe I have to get that.
Sonic is in it. I don't know if.
I don't think Sonic was in it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other thing is Rematch, which is this new soccer game.
That looks so good. Soccer. I gotta play it. How was your stream? You did a stream Sunday, right?
Did a stream? Yes, on Sunday. It was great. Unfortunately, I was still very rookie to the game. I think that you really just need to get down the muscle memory of and it takes a while for everything to really click because you've really got to think of this as a third-person shooter that also happens to be soccer, i.e., where the reticle goes is very important to the aiming. And so you have to be running with the ball and aiming and lining up shots.
Hell yeah.
And so it isn't like as kind of magnetic as FIFA, where it's like kind of, oh, press X and it goes to the nearest person.
Let me
But
use the
you have to.
mouse.
Oh, that would go crazy.
Yeah.
Mouse keyboard control.
Because I assume that works on PC, right?
I mean,
That's
it
how
does
PC
work on
players are
PC.
playing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm playing on controller, but I mean, maybe honestly with how it works. So like, yeah, you'll line up a shot, but you know, you've got people running at you, and you're facing one way, and you have to turn the camera around, charge up the shot, and then you also have to use the left stick at the same time to curve it right. So because the goalie does have a lot of magnetism. That these fucking goalies, when they jump and get the ball, I just see the ball go shoop when they catch catch it. It's really good. I do think there needs to be some tweaking, but the foundations are really strong, and it is just a very straightforward experience. But it is, yeah, mechanically unique, and it feels like a game that you can get, you know, there will be people who are just crazy good. And so as you get better with the controls, it becomes even more fun, because suddenly you're like getting the ball, you know, you're better at getting the ball, you're better at getting around you know, opponents, better at timing on the, you know, the stamina management is honestly like a huge factor.
There's some like actual like combo like button press things you actually have to do in this, right? It's not super basic from it, because it almost looked like I was watching people play a fighting game a little bit, you know, in the way that they're maneuvering the character, like as if it was in, you know, 3D space.
Yeah, I mean, it's by the guys that made Sifu, so that,
right,
you know, that they did come from something like that. And it definitely looks like it's that team that made this game. Um, I don't know how deep the button pressing stuff goes, but there's enough that if you can chain them in really interesting ways. And you know, it's more about using the somewhat there is, it isn't a crazy amount, I don't think.
yeah,
I've tried to look into it. That it's more of like, how do you chain these things together when you're faced in a certain situation? So I think you can just like make it look overly like, oh, I'm doing crazy shit, but it is a relatively simple um set of things that you're doing. But yeah, Jesse, have you been playing?
I've played like 4 matches. I had this whole thing where I was going to play with some friends and they have it on PC and I have it through Game
Yes.
Pass because I signed up for your Game Pass and forgot about it. Um, but because even though I'm playing Game Pass on PC, it does not
Yes, we were going
pull
over
your
this the other day.
PC
that's why I didn't
friends
play with
list.
Tom on Sunday.
Yep. And so I played a couple matches by myself, got incredibly frustrated because I am bad at the game. My teammates were also bad at the game. My random teammates. But to go back to something you were touching on, where like you have to aim the reticle
Yeah.
to where you want to shoot. That is like the amount of times I would be looking at someone, they would pass
Yeah.
the ball to me, I'd hit the trigger to shoot, and I would just kick the ball back to them because I wasn't like looking
Right,
to
because you're
shoot the
looking
goal.
at
I was
them.
just,
Yes.
and they'd be like, "What do you do?" They'd be over voice chat. They'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I'm just trying my best."
Oh shit. That does make it sound
It's neat
tough.
though.
Yeah.
I did a couple. I watched a couple videos on like combos that you could do, but the thing I'm noticing is a lot of people that are doing these like string like rainbow flicks to passes to whatever are doing them in the like free play area. So I don't know how useful they are when there's like 3 other defenders like running up and trying to slide tackle you. Like I don't think you could really be doing like all of these crazy things. Like maybe in some situations, but it seems like people are doing it for show more than they are doing it in games. I haven't really come
I,
across people like that.
I'll tell you this, as someone that was doing it in the free
Oh, okay.
roam for a video, it got just practicing like that of
Hmm.
getting like the muscle memory a little bit of like rainbow flick is forward, right bumper, and A.
Hmm.
Once I got that down, I was using it in games, and like I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh shit, okay, I'm getting past the buzz. And that's what I mean about like, once you start to get those things down, it's more about, your timing on
Mm.
just like getting it down of like, okay, I'm gonna do it when they're this far away from me, and I've got to remember that the reticle, where I'm aiming really matters. Do I want to pass? Do I want to shoot? Okay, am I gonna curve it? Like, am I gonna lob pass? Like, it's about getting those chains down. So in a way, it is kind of like a fighting game, because a fighting game is also about chaining together combos and learning the button presses. But it's not something like a Street Fighter where it's like, okay,
Right.
XXY,
Right.
and then do a little
More like a Power Stone here.
Power Stone. Shout
Just
out.
gonna see how many episodes in a row I can find a way to bring up Power Stone on this podcast. I like that game.
Bring it back.
That was a fun game. Smash Power Stone, but with Smash Brothers characters. Do it.
Yep.
Do it. I'm into this. I'm really into Rematch. I haven't played it yet, so I'm hoping I will enjoy it. I guess I'm just gonna wait till at this point because
I mean, I'll play it. I'll play it on.
Oh, you can download it on Xbox, right? Yeah, you can
get
do
it on
that.
Xbox, and it doesn't fucking. I don't give a fuck about the cosmetics. So I don't.
Right, exactly.
You don't want to have a cool haircut?
The haircuts that I've seen are all like basic ass haircuts. That like his fucking his
you don't
just
want
a mustache.
Fade.
Yeah,
yeah. Crazy that you have to buy the facial hair in this game. That's kind of wild.
That is
I don't know
weird.
if it's real money or if it's in-game currency, but like there's only like 2 facial hair options that are free, and then the rest was like use this currency, and I was like, I don't want to know how to get that currency. I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a strange cosmetic to be picking. I also appreciate it. It seems like you can pick whatever color you want for your team.
Yes.
You just have to remember at that point, then you can't describe people by, but you shouldn't need to. Everyone that's on your team is on your team. You know who they are. But I do think that's fun. That's a good design decision. I don't know. I've always missed sports games since Madden 2004 was the last one I got. I think it had like Yellow Card on it. It had a pretty good soundtrack at the time.
That's what matters.
But that was like since then it's just that these games have become, simulation machines, and then they became gotcha machines for, then I'd like none of that interests me. I want more arcadey sports games. And I mean I hope this does well enough that some other devs out there are trying to do this, because I think it's like kind of missing right now in games.
It's honestly so surprising how like obviously Rocket League is just a different version of soccer.
Right.
Like I've seen a lot of people be like, "Oh, this is like Rocket League," and it's like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but like I get it's funny to say.
Yeah.
But I am surprised that more people haven't like tried to copy that formula yet of like, oh, like arcadey 3v3, like, and we've had like hoops and NBA Jam, and we've had NFL Street, and we've had all these games that are like kind of, sim like arcadey versions of sim games. But I'm just surprised after the popularity of Rocket League, we didn't immediately see a million versions of that thing in basketball, hockey, football.
We would have if it came out later. I think the need to kind of the desire to like, okay, just copy and paste that thing was a couple of years after, really, with like Fortnite, right? Once it was like,
That's true.
You can make what's popular makes a shit ton of fucking money, like let's copy it.
And by the way, Rocket League was still popular during that time. But if you are, one of these executives with their head up their ass, and someone's like, do you want to build a Rocket League or do you want to build a Fortnite? They're going to be like, well, I want to build a Fortnite, not a Rocket League.
Yeah, so, Rocket League just went so uncontested for so long.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure it's still uncontested. True. Rematch is still a different thing. It's not the same as flying supersonic acrobatic rocket power based battle cars, but like, you know what I mean? Yeah, just weird. Weird it never happened.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm glad to hear it's fun though, because it looked fun. I remember when they showed this off only like 6 months ago, right? I feel like this was
it was recent.
It was fairly recent.
Earlier this year, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I almost grabbed it for my fantasy league. I don't know how well it did though. I think it did all right.
Let's find out. It did. A 76.
All right. So I'm glad I didn't in the end. Which, by the way, Tom, I now have 21 points for Death Stranding 2. I have the
Very
two
nice.
highest games with Death Stranding 2 and Split Fiction. Because Blueprints did drop down to 89. Did you not? Neither of us ended up with Clair Obscur. I was going to try and get it, and then it was too late because the game already,
Yeah.
like,
Had
the
reviews
game
and
was
shit.
going to come out that week,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
waited. I missed the like you have to submit in time before that could happen. Ah, that's too bad. I have a pretty Tom's doing really well. He has, you know, what? I feel like Tom, this is where I should probably just we should probably start talking about news, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
There's not much, so we should just get to it and then start wrapping up. All right, so I'll just little fantasy league update. I only have 3 releases so far, but they're Split Fiction, Mario Kart World, and Death Stranding 2, so very strong. I still have an empty spot, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Metroid Prime 4, Donkey Kong, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion left. So that could turn out pretty well. Tuna's got a lot of empty spots as well. He's got Pokemon, MLB The Show, Borderlands, Ghost of Yotei. He still has to drop GTA 6. I got to remind him to do that. And Tom, you have. Wait, did I not have? Oh, right, I did have Death Stranding. You have Elden Ring, Monster Hunter, Doom, Citizen Sleeper, Avowed, Blue. So you have very strong score so far. You only have 2 games remaining with Slay the Spire 2, which is definitely going to do well, and Demon School. Those are your 2 remaining games. But you have 92 points right now, which is very good. So good job. Congrats. I don't think Tuna is going to be able to catch up. I think Borderlands 4 is going to fuck him. I don't expect that game to do well, but I could be wrong. I think I'm just I'm sour on that franchise. I sat through that movie last year, and yeah, I think it might literally be the worst movie I've ever seen.
It's pretty fucking bad. It is pretty fucking bad.
It might be the worst movie I've ever seen. Did you see it, Jesse?
No. I refuse to.
I heard how bad it was, so that's why I went to see it. It was like crickets in there, like joke after joke. Like,
was there any redeeming quality?
No, nothing. That was the worst part about all of it is like not only did you know what change the Borderlands story, that's fine because it's fucking all over the place, but they didn't do anything good with it. So none of the story was good. The acting, it seems like everyone just showed up for a paycheck. It seemed
Which
like
at this point, fair.
Right. Yes, exactly. And then visually, there were some things that visually they got right, but just the vibe of everything else was so off that I felt pained watching it at times.
Yeah.
Like I was just complete like in a fugue state by the time that was done. I would have walked out, but I kind of wanted to force myself to do it so that I could say I saw it. Unlike the Minecraft movie, which was totally fine. The Minecraft movie's totally fine.
You know, I kind of like totally just took the Borderlands movie out of my brain. Like even that it existed because I never saw it. I watched like the first trailer they ever put out for it, and I was like, "Oh, there's no way this is good." So I just kind of like out of my ear and out of my brain and threw it into the trash can. And I'm glad to do that because it sounds like it was not worth even thinking about.
No, no. And in fact, the problem with it is it's not even like they really go for something and they spectacularly fail at it. So you can't like Madam Web is a bad movie, but boy, did I have a good time watching that movie. Partially because the audience, everyone was laughing at, but I could totally bring that back up and I will laugh at that movie. I would laugh at the worst ADR I've ever seen in a film. I would laugh at the bad writing. I would laugh at the bad acting, but there was still like, at least in every scene, someone was trying to make this work. And it felt like they all understood that it wasn't going to, but they still tried anyway. And with Borderlands, it just feels like this was just rushed out the door. This was like a Temu film. This is not.
It's also like lowest common denominator humor. It's like,
Yes.
oh, what is the cheapest laugh we could possibly go for here? And that never works. Like Minecraft, I feel like does that enough. But then you have like Chicken Jockey, and like
Chicken
sure,
jockey.
like that's an in joke for the Minecraft crowd. That's cool. But like the culture moment that it created, like significantly outweighs anything that Borderlands
Yep.
could have ever done in its film debut. Like the sheer joy I got from watching other people like bring live chickens into the theater and like throw popcorn in the air. Like, yes, it sucks for the people that work in the movie theaters. I don't condone that. That sucks. But also, it's so funny. Like, I can't
Yes,
deny
it
how
is.
funny that is. It
I
rules,
totally agree.
actually.
We saw my buddy and I went opening night and we saw like 'cause I live here in LA. So we
Mhm.
went to the Universal like IMAX. So we saw like the opening night Universal IMAX show. And this was before like so there were no videos yet of like, Zoomers going ape
Yeah.
shit for this film.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that wasn't a thing yet, that showing was like some of the early videos was in that screening because it was not like we thought it was going to be. We were like, let's go watch this dumb movie. And so we show up. We were not prepared for what this audience was already prepared to bring to this film before it went viral for doing that. Fuck, that was fun. That was a fun experience. Borderlands had none of that. So don't recommend seeing that movie.
What if we
Uh,
went to see Borderlands and we all just shouted chicken jockey and threw a
throughout
bunch
the
of
whole thing.
stuff during the film?
That'd be good. Tom, what you got for us?
I'm trying to go through the news. There is like nothing this week. The biggest thing is that there's looming uh layoff news at
Oh,
Xbox
great.
again,
Right.
which is,
I'm
as
gonna hear
someone
you. I'm
points
just gonna
out,
grab something. Let
yeah,
me keep
yeah, yeah,
talking.
go for it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Jesse, if you've seen anything else. I know that it's just kind of like seems to be happening from what I'm seeing, but like there's been no official anything about it.
Yeah, it sounds like another round of maybe quiet layoffs. And when I say quiet, I mean the company's not going to really say anything about it. And then we're going to hear a bunch of people that have been laid off and be
Yeah.
like, there were layoffs. And then somebody's going to have to go digging around and do a report to kind of get the total damage that's been done. I just don't know how you're a company that put out probably the most games you've ever put out in a calendar year. And then you do like your third round of layoffs in like 18 months. I just don't know how you do that. Like, I don't get it, man. I really don't.
Yeah,
I,
it seems crazy considering as well, like, not that Xbox's woes are fixed or anything, but like, it's not like it's an unpopular brand. Like,
Yeah.
there are still millions of Xboxes out there. You are still selling millions of games. Is your game is Game Pass really not this worth it that you have to like cut 3,000 people every fucking quarter?
but how
Is
much
it
growth is it gonna have, Tom?
I also think that this is maybe, and this is based on speculation. I want to make that clear. Speculation, and also like we don't know what's going to happen with these layoffs. But I don't think that it is necessarily disconnected from the fact that there seems to be more with the Xbox Ally news and them building a Xbox shell, essentially the Xbox full screen experience, as it's called, for Windows. I wonder if, from everything we're hearing about how the Xbox and Windows teams are more connected than ever, usually what happens in a company, and the bigger the company, the more this happens when this happens, is that there will be layoffs when it's like two teams basically kind of start merging, and then it's
Merging.
like, okay, this job, boom, this job, that job.
Yeah. Where's the
And it's
overlap?
and it's a thing where it's like I understand the core concept, and it's happened at work with us, right? Of like, okay, this team and this team are going to work close together. Okay, well, there's some overlapping shit here. Okay, it should be one of you, this person does that, and let's figure out another way that this other person can benefit, because there is work that can be done to help, like, even if there's redundancies in like what the roles are. But no, these companies just like fucking cut. And so yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's crazy because also
Yeah.
at the same time they're like, this is an Xbox campaign is continuing. We're putting out a fucking MetaQuest headset. It's black and it costs
Oh
more
yeah, that
money.
happened like randomly this week. They were just like, "Oh,
It
by the way,
happened like
here's
the
this thing."
same day that the layoff like rumor slash slow reveal.
And there was so many rumors years ago about them doing a partnership with Oculus, like back when I think it was the
Yes.
One X was coming out. They were like, "Oh, Microsoft's answer to VR is to partner with a
Yeah.
pre-existing headset already."
Yeah.
And then that just like never happened. And so
I
it's really
wouldn't.
funny to see them doing it now,
Yeah.
7 years later.
But I think it's obviously like what's interesting with that, and not to like just like move on to the news, which is there's a black MetaQuest 3S out
Yeah.
there. But what is interesting about that is I do think they were talking to Oculus at the time, because
Oh,
Oculus was also
I think so
a
too.
free agent, and there was definitely, it's crazy, right? Because it kind of feels that like we've also regressed in a way where, okay, there was VR fervor
Hmm.
in the 2010s, right? There was like Oculus, the first generation of Oculus came out. I was like, okay, maybe VR is ready. Maybe we can actually do this. And there was a fervor, but it wasn't the rabid, like, oh my God, we have to take this to the moon and maybe blow it up for the technology that, and it is way more viable of a piece of technology than like some of the things like NFTs and now
But
AI
the
that
problem is that
everyone's jumping on.
that's not what you want to compare it to. What you want to compare it to is old VR. And so what happened was the technology works now, but that doesn't mean the technology is ready, because it's just still too big and too
Sure.
heavy. Like
Yeah.
it's too big, it's too heavy, it's too expensive. Like I play an inordinate amount of VR. More, Jesse, we talk about VR on this fucking
Every
podcast
week, pretty
every
much.
week because the greatest VR video game to ever come out came out a few years ago, and most people don't know it unless they play VR regularly. But it's called Walkabout Mini Golf, and it is the Wii
Tell me more.
Sports of VR. It is the
Okay.
Wii Sports of VR. It is also a rare, like don't understand yet, and well, I do understand why more people don't know about this in the larger gaming space, and it's only in the VR spaces, because general gaming audiences don't really hear anything about VR stuff unless it's a like huge title or a new piece of hardware, and then it's just like it kind of disappears into the ether
Yeah.
in between those events. This game is the Wii Sports of VR. They figured it out. There's finally a game you can go play this game and go in VR, and when you come out, you aren't overstimulated and overwhelmed. You've actually had like a really fun experience, and I'll come out of it like still energetic and like not feeling tired like every other VR game you play, because you're just playing mini golf, and all of the worlds are like very beautifully constructed. The music is like simple and ambient for each zone. uh every course has two versions. There's a daytime course and there's a nighttime course, and so that it's
Love
like
that.
easy and hard mode. So each course zone, you have two sets of 18 holes. So they just put out their 34th course now for this game. So
It's a lot.
that's there's 68 mini golf courses you can play. All the easy ones have 18 cosmetic balls hidden at them, so that you can go and find them, like one for each hole. And then the hard courses have like a cosmetic club that you have to do like a scavenger hunt. You follow clues, you go around.
But this rules.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I've been evangelizing Walkabout Mini Golf the same way I evangelize One Piece to people. I have a problem. Uh, the other thing about this game, it is made by a guy that he actually came from the film industry. He made a Disney, not, it wasn't like didn't set the world on fire, but he made an animated Disney film, Spies in Disguise. It was one with Tom Holland, Will Smith, and he's like the secret agent Bird.
Sure.
So he puts a ton of detail and attention to these worlds. They are almost kind of, they talk about treating them almost like amusement park spaces, sort of like, like they want you to feel like you're in this sort of like living area. There isn't a like true hard narrative story, but there are these small hidden stories throughout. Like on the Venice course during the daytime, you can see there's a proposal that's going to happen. Like this proposal is set up, but the people
Oh, they have
obviously
like
haven't been there yet.
breadcrumbs. Some
Yeah, they
narrative
have
breadcrumbs. We
breadcrumbs.
love that.
It's like it's on a roof in like a really romantic spot, so they could see like the sunset. And then when you're there at nighttime, though, There's like flowers on the ground that are scattered. There's like it looks like things didn't go like so there's little things like that throughout each stage. It just makes it really inviting. And now they're adding like a bunch of other stuff that you can do so you can just hang out. But it went from just him making this game to now it's I think 34, 35 people at this company. So it's this like little indie company that's like it's like a kind of incredible success story for what's currently been happening in the industry. They don't do a battle pass. They just sell you a course for $3.99. It's like
Great.
it's amazing. It's everything you kind of want video games to be doing, and this mini golf game is doing
you
it.
don't need to. The core thing is this as well, is you don't need to buy the course to play it if you're playing with a friend that owns it. So
Yeah.
like Chris and Tuna, the other host, they're super into it, so they buy every course. Usually I just like jump in to play the course with them a couple of times.
We also do tea time. We sync up our lunches.
Nice.
So they play a lot.
Do you rent a cart too, and you just drive around your apartment?
Oh, that needs to be added. Yeah, I love that.
A golf cart would be sick.
Yeah. They definitely adding. I can see them adding that at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in their suggestions.
They
put it on their Trello board.
They own all of the courses, so if it's a course that I don't own, I can still play with them.
Yeah,
I just can't get each course comes with during the day. It comes with a new ball design. Each hole has a ball design hidden somewhere. And so you need to like look and find it, and then you can get the ball design. And then the nighttime course, which is the hard mode, that has basically like a bunch of clues, and at the end you're just like hunting. You're doing a treasure hunt essentially for these things, and at the end of it you get a golf club themed on the course, and that's what you get by buying it, as well as the ability to play it by yourself.
I got a VR headset.
Yeah, do you have one or no?
You need to get the new MetaQuest.
So I had a MetaQuest, the first one, and I got really burned because I bought it, and then like very shortly after they announced the 2, and then they were like RE4 is only on the 2, and I was like, that's like the one thing I would love to play. And so then I swore off getting any more headsets until they figure their shit out, and they've designed a headset that they're like, this is the piece of tech we're gonna kind of rock with this for more than a short period of time, because the 2 felt very short-lived, but maybe that's just because I was on the outside. I feel like the 2 came and then the 3 wasn't that long after. Maybe it was longer than I thought, but
I think it was 3 years.
Felt short-lived. Oh, okay. Honestly, longer than I thought.
I will say, I think they're trying to get everyone on the 3 so they can tell devs like, hey, you don't need to support the 2 anymore. Just because the power on the 3 is like the processor on that hardware is a lot better, and those games like kind of, they need it. In fact, last year they sunset the Quest 1 version of Walkabout Mini Off. You can still play it if you're on Quest 1, but they're like all new DLC. Like it's gotta, we can't do this stuff with our like courses that we want to be able to do on the Quest 1 hardware. So I think they want to do that because Quest now sells a version of the Quest 3 that is the lenses and screens from the Quest 2, but it's got the processor of the Quest 3. So I think they're trying to make that the baseline. I wouldn't be surprised if like whenever the Quest 4 is coming out that year, we'll hear them be like, hey, we're going to sunset Quest 2 development like that same year. That's what I'm expecting. And I'm thinking that's going to be 2026 probably, end of the year.
Next year. Yeah, it's interesting with the 3S, because like the 3S basically exists because the Quest was getting too expensive. Like the Quest 1 and 2, like initially when they came out,
that's true,
they were closer in the 300 to 400 range, and then with the Quest 3 it jumped up to like 500-600. Like Quest 2 got a price increase, I think is what happened, and then it jumped up $100.
That happened during COVID. That's right.
Yeah, so it was like $350, and then it jumped up to $450 or whatever, and then the Quest 3 came out, and it was like $550. And the Quest 3 is like a substantial step up in terms of hardware, but then they made the 3S because they were like, oh, well, if we just, as Chris said, take the processor, but a slightly worse screen system, but ultimately totally fine.
Yeah, the Quest 2 screens are still good.
Yeah, like and release it at the price of what a Quest was 5 years ago. So that's the weird thing about this 3S is like they are positioning it as the de facto, and almost like the Quest 3 is the pro model.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, so it's, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting because I think that thankfully, I mean, granted, the worst people are at the head of VR technology right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's this kind of platform and experience that has continued to be niche for the last decade, but somehow still hasn't gone away. And there's still some really awesome games coming out that are like must plays. And I do think that if you are someone who likes the idea of playing I mean, we have been talking about Walkabout Mini Golf every week on this podcast for years at this point. Listeners, I know this
2
is
years
fresh
ago
for
it
you,
came
Jesse.
out a PSVR 2.
Listeners are like, we get it. I've bought it on every fucking platform. Like,
they put out an iOS version of it, and it's
no
crossplay.
Yeah,
that's wild.
So like you could be in a Quest, and I could be in a PSVR 2, and Tom could be on his iPhone, and we could all be playing and talking to each other in a VR AR, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's stupid though. We talk about a VR game that only we play, I think. No, that's not true. I mean, like VR games don't do this well. Like
it is a popular VR
it's
game,
amazing.
But it is
they increased the price of
a
it.
VR game.
I didn't know that me bringing up the new Xbox VR headsets would ignite such passion. Normally, I announce that we talk about it on a podcast. People are like, "Yeah, okay, yeah,
whatever,
sure, whatever."
Oh yeah.
And then the two of you were like, this needs substantial amount of time. We have to tell you about Walkabout Mini Golf," and I loved it. I learned something new today.
People really do have to know about it, because I do think, especially the PSVR 2, this is the true killer app. And if I were a developer making a VR game, I wouldn't look at like Asgard's Wrath or Batman. I wouldn't look at these like high octane experiences. I don't think that's what people actually like and return to in VR. I think people that typically play, couch or like PC games, they want all of that stimulation. But when you're in VR, it's actually the opposite, because you are already getting so much more input than you normally are getting. But just by like using your whole body, like even and not as a controller, like you're moving with your body in that space to look around, that you don't need all that extra stuff. You just kind of need a way to enjoy like being in that world. And so that's it's amazing. People got to play this game.
You heard it here first.
I do. I have the trifecta now, Tom, of things that I evangelize on this podcast.
Because you're about to talk about Spindrift.
Grab a can, grab a bag. It's delicious, not nutritious. Unsnack.
This is unsnacked. There's a new flavor of Spindrift that just came out. Yuzu Mandarin.
Ooh.
What is Yuzu?
So I didn't know a lot about Yuzu, Tom, until your YouTube,
Yuzu,
which I'm still logged into, had like a mini doc like on the YouTube recommended page that I use, because I still don't want to pay for YouTube Premium. And I watched it, and then the next day this was announced, so that was weird.
No way. You watched it before it was announced.
It's so
liked
weird.
Yuzu before it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it like sort of blew my mind, because I watched this whole video being like, oh, I didn't know. Like, so it's primarily used in like Japan and China, but a lot of East Asian countries grow it. It is essentially a lemon. It's a citrus, but we have an import ban on yuzu in America to make sure that our yuzu prices for our yuzu growers are not destroyed, because it is like the fruit to use there for lemon. They don't use our lemon, they use their lemon. So our government's like, we're not going to allow you to import that here, because it will take over the market and be so much cheaper than the yuzu growers that we have. But we don't have a lot of people that grow it here. So not only is it really expensive to get in America, there just isn't a lot of it. So this is like, they've never done this before, but this is a limited batch. They're only making one run of this drink. So I bought 2 cases of it, because I was like, I know I'm going to like it, because the standard lemon's my favorite flavor. And this fruit they describe as having a more of the like sourness of a grapefruit, but the sweetness of an orange, but it is a lemon. And that is exactly what this tastes like. This tastes like I took like a strong lemon. It's a slightly different lemon flavor that I'm used to. Um, it's almost like a little bit richer. It's not quite as light. There's like more taste to it, and it's a bit more sour. And then it's like someone put like a splash of OJ in there. It's very good.
It sounds very good. I'm sorry, I've still been thinking about we have yuzu growers in America that are worried that if we import yuzu, it will crush them. But there's not a lot of them. And in my brain goes, why don't you just grow something else?
Because they've cornered a market. I'm sure it's
I guess,
probably there's
yeah.
probably lobbying behind this. Like this is we have import bans on like food. There's I read a book on onions earlier this year, and there was an onion. We did this to an onion as well, and we took
We
that
did this to
onion
an onion.
and we bred
Why
it
not
with
the
another
onion?
Texas. We created the Vidalia. Like we created our
Oh, okay.
own onion, put their onion out of business by doing essentially it's just sort of a practice that we have in this country of
This
being
this is
shitheads
this
is
is
essentially what this
literally
is.
this is literally the episode of The Simpsons where Homer invents tobacco. And it's a tomato plant crossed with tobacco, so it's like
Oh my
they're
God.
addicted. Everyone's addicted to.
These
They just
tomatoes
they just bite in. It's a tomato on the outside. They bite in, and it's just like fucking
full of
black.
nicotine.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway,
We
Spindrift
we gotta
killing the
cross
game still.
the yuzu and the onion together now. We gotta make the yuzu
Oh,
Vidalia.
Ooh, a
sour onions,
lemon onion.
lemon
That's
onion.
gonna really sting if you get it in the eyes. That's
Oh
not gonna
yeah.
be good. You gotta
It'll be
wear
lethal.
yeah, you gotta wear goggles when you're if you've ever done the hot chip challenge, it's like you gotta put gloves on when you take
Oh
it out of the
yeah.
Yeah.
bag so you don't get it on your hands.
World's most lethal onion.
Tom, want to do a quick voicemail and then we'll get out of here?
Yes.
Because we got some other voicemails but everything was so tied to Alex's ranting yesterday during the podcast for several reasons that I'm gonna wait till he's here to play those because otherwise uh, no point. Oh, I hit the news. There we go. All right. Email at unrankedpodcast.com, or you could go to our Discord and there's the questions for the pod, or you can call 805-738-8692. That is 805 Retunia. Oh, I guess I closed it. I thought I had it open.
No.
What's up, Unranked crew? This is Alex Schwimmerman calling in. That again is Alex Schwimmerman. I know it's kind of a weird name, but I actually went to school with Tom back in the day, and I remember he got glass stuck under his nail, and I was trying to talk to him because I was like, actually I had glass over my nail one time. I was trying to empathize with him, and it was kind of weird. He just kind of turned like, "Is it in you right now?" And his weird British accent. And I was like, oh, my bad. Geez, I was just trying to talk to you, and I try to empathize with you, but geez. So I just wanted to make sure I'd mention that because I realized that you guys might not know that story, and it's kind of a name that you would probably remember, Alex Schwimmerman. But other than that, Stan Rankin, suck it.
Right. I take it Tom recognizes this person.
I mean, I recognize I'm very confused right now because I've told that story on the podcast before. Do we have who did this come? Do we have a number? Did this come from a number?
Alex Schwimmerman.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
Alex,
him.
He said it twice. It couldn't be any more clear.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
I mean, I don't want to dox him,
No.
but I will text it to you.
Does it identify this person?
No, it just has. I mean, I could type it into the Google.
No.
Do you want me to text them?
No.
Yeah, I could actually through Google Voice. I could call him if you we could call.
Can I call and ask if it's Alex Schwimmerman?
It's definitely
That would be incredible.
No. This is definitely some people are up to shenanigans here. I'll just put it that way.
That's mostly. I was curious to find out if this was really Alex Schwimmerman or if this is someone doing a bit. It seems like Tom thinks this is someone, but is there an Alex Schwimmerman? Is that the person in the story?
Is his last name Schwimmerman?
But it was Alex.
You don't even know?
It was Alex. Yeah, because it was just a kid that I went to high school with. Like I didn't.
He's listening to this now, and he's just a kid.
There was glass under his nail, I think, is what that story was about.
If you're the person that called in that time, and you claim that you are Alex, because here's the thing, I definitely brought that story up on.
You're a lot more flummoxed by this than I thought you were gonna be.
Well, because I'm just confused as to what because I don't know if you're pulling something on me right now.
No, I don't remember this story, Tom.
Okay,
in fact, no offense, Alex, but this isn't a story that I would come up with. As I would have juiced this up a bit.
That was why I was confused because I was like, this doesn't seem like a Chris thing. Tune is not involved in this.
No, it would be way more elaborate if I did this.
So either I told that story and someone I meant because like the fact that this person is very focused on their last name, I don't remember if I said their last. Like that's where I'm getting confused because is it Schwimmerman? Schwendeman. Alex Schwendeman. Look, if you are Alex, get in the Discord, okay? And drop proof, get today's newspaper. Okay? Drop it in the Discord. Because it's not Schwimmerman. It's definitely Schwendeman.
I feel like we're definitely getting another call from Alex Schwimmerman. It might not be Alex Schwimmerman. It might be someone else the next time.
And also, I'm not trying to like fucking dox this person either. If Alex is out there, I find it hard to believe that Alex knows about this podcast. So,
the hunt for Alex Schwenderman. It continues.
I just rewatched that season 4 finale of Nathan For You. Where he's looking for
Finding Francis.
Yeah, Finding Francis. He's looking for the Bill Gates. Jesus Christ! I just watched that last night.
So brilliant, so good.
So good.
Thank you, Nathan.
I think that about wraps it up for today, Tom.
I think so.
Jesse, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was an absolute blast. Look, if you ever get your hands on some VR hardware, I will show you. Do you like Wallace and Gromit? They got a Wallace and Gromit course.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, they've got a Dark Crystal course.
Oh no, puppets freak me out.
They have Labyrinth. They have Labyrinth, not Dark Crystal, but also equally freaky, but not as bad because David Bowie. Yeah, a lot of stuff to see. I might be here next week. I might not. I might be having a child already. I guess we'll see. But until next time, you can stay unranked. Oh, and you gotta tell him to suck it, Jesse.
Oh yeah,
suck it.
Hell yeah.